Good morning. Morning of day 8. Wow. Just been dropped off at Unicoi Gap by Smokey Bear again, and making our way up the first of 2 big ascents. We're going over Rocky Mountain and then Trail Mountain, and that's going to take up a large part of the day, because it's up, straight back down, and then straight back up even higher. So I'm sure I'll be losing my jumper fairly soon, because it's going to be a warm one. I'll get back to you later. Made it to the top of Rocky Mountain. Only took about an hour. I think that's Jonah Mountain in the distance. I had to stop at the very first water source. I'd filled my water bottles up when I was at the hotel, but coming up the mountain I was having a taste and it was horrible. I could taste all the chlorine and chemicals in the water from the town. So first thing I did when I came to the first spring was ditch all that and filter me some nice clean mountain water. And the difference is remarkable. It's interesting how your tastes change when you're out like this. Little note about that mountain I showed you a second ago, Jonah Mountain. When the white settlers started colonising what's now known as Georgia, they were keen for land, but a lot of it was occupied by the Native Americans. So the US government passed a law to relocate all the tribes east of the Mississippi, which wasn't part of the US at the time. A number of the tribes were moved out, and the last ones to go were the Cherokee. And I believe that Jonah Mountain is where they started what's now known as the Trail of Tears, which was a march, a forced march from here to what is now Oklahoma, and through the winter months, where hundreds if not thousands of the Cherokee died along the way. And I think it was the largest forced migration in the history of the US, and that's why all the Cherokee homelands now are the other side of the Mississippi, like I say, mostly in Oklahoma, and there's very little Indian lands here in Georgia anymore. When we get to the Nantahala Outdoor Centre, that was actually on the route of the Trail of Tears. I think there's a plaque there. I'll see if I can find it when I'm there in the next week or so. Coming down into Indian Grave Gap, in between Rocky Mountain and Trail Mountain. I think that's the biggest descent of the day, because even though Trail Mountain is taller, you then go along a ridge line behind it, so there's not so much of a down the other side. Up in the clouds again. Oh, those rocks were the summit. There wasn't a signpost or anything there, so it took me 3 hours from Unicoi Gap to get over Rocky Mountain and then to the top of Trail Mountain. There's a shelter on the backside here, so it's almost lunchtime. I'm gonna go down, take a break. Just arriving to Tray Mountain Shelter. Another nice one. No table here, but they've got these interesting little side seats and tables either side I've not seen before. They're talking about 70 degrees at lunchtime and 80 degrees by tea time, so warm one today. Right, gonna have some lunch. I've seen that sign, swag on the Blue Ridge, in many people's videos, and I had to look up its meaning, because swag to me means like loot, booty, contraband. But apparently in this context, a swag is a dip between two peaks. So I guess that makes sense, because you have swags on curtains. I'm headed for Deep Gap Shelter, which will make today my biggest day. Just coming down into a gap. Unfortunately, the shelter's on the other side of Kelly's Knob, which is that mountain. So I should be there in about an hour and a half. It's 2:30, 3:15 now. As this is day 8, I thought I'd do a recap of the first week. Everyone online and people at hostels and that strongly recommend that you don't try and push too hard, and that you limit your mileage to between about 8 and 10 miles a day for the first week. So I got to Helen, which is at mile 52. After 6 days of hiking. If you add the approach trail in, that means I hiked just over 60 miles in 6 days. So I averaged 10.1 miles a day. So I'm pleased with that. It's what they recommend. I'd always planned to have 1.0 per week. And then this week I'm trying to up the mileage a bit. Not too much, but somewhere around the 12 to 14 miles a day. I'll get back to you after the next big climb. Made it to Deep Gap. Oh, it's been a hell of a day. That wasn't Kelly's Knob that I showed you. Kelly's Knob was hiding behind that mountain and was even bigger. I guess because it was the last climb of the day, it just seemed to go on forever and ever. But then a full 8 hours of hiking today, and I'll put the mileage up on the end once I've worked it out. But, my feet are hurting, that's for sure. And I think it's 0.2 down here to the shelter. I'll show you when we get there. Just filled it with water. There's a spring as you come down to the shelter. There's quite a few people here, and as you can see, quite a few tents as well. So I'll find a space.